Hey everybody, welcome back to Page to Page. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? I've been away on vacation, so I haven't had a lot of time to make videos. I've also had work, so I've been pretty busy recently, but I am glad to be back and glad to be making videos. So while I was gone to Florida, and I picked up quite a few books while I was in Florida. So I would like to show you them in this video and talk about them, just show you what I picked up while I was away. I got these next 3 volumes for less than $1 a piece, which was really cool. Here's the first one. It's a collection of Walt Whitman's poetry. It's got even from his early stuff through his Song of Myself, some pieces from his Leaves of Grass, which was his magnum opus, his life's work, really. Also has some Civil War poems, you know, Oh Captain, My Captain. Whitman was a surgeon during the Civil War for the Union, so a lot of his poetry reflected his experiences within the Civil War, his thoughts on the warfare, and all of the wounded. I Sing the Body Electric, that's another one of his famous poems. Pioneers of Pioneers, of course, which actually went on to inspire the title of Willa Cather's Pioneers. And of course, When Lilacs in the Last Dooryard Bloomed, which was one of many poems Whitman wrote about Lincoln after his assassination. Another one of these was the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. This was the most popular slave narrative, I'd say, which was a genre that came during the abolition movement. Of course, Frederick Douglass is one of the most well-known abolitionists. He's a very important figure in American history because during his time, a popular thought was that African Americans were not smart enough to read or write or really be functioning members of society. So Frederick Douglass and this narrative that he wrote about his life as a slave was very influential to the abolition movement because it proved that African Americans could be very well educated. So it's a short seeming read, but of course it's a classic that probably every American should read at least once in their life. And speaking of books every American should read, the last of the less than $1 finds, the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, of course, the founding father, a polymath, one of the smartest people in American history. He did many impressive things over his years, was very influential in the development and founding of America. His ideas contributed a lot and were really ingrained within American culture. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of great information, advice, and quotes in this book. So up next we have a fiction book I picked up. I don't really read that much fantasy. I read The Hobbit earlier this year and I really loved it. So I decided I need to pick up some fantasy and try to start reading some of that. So one of the most popular fantasy authors is Brandon Sanderson. I picked up The Way of Kings, which is the first entry in the Stormlight Archive, I believe is the name of the series. Yeah, Stormlight Archive. This is one of the most popular high fantasy series right now. As you can see, it's an absolute brick. This is the mass market paperback edition. But I don't know much about Sanderson. I know that he has some pretty cool lectures on writing on YouTube. I believe he went to BYU. I believe that's where he teaches. But he has a lot of very dedicated fans. So what better place to start with fantasy than here? And next up we have a nonfiction book, which I just picked up because it looked really cool. This is called Dear Leader. North Korea's senior propagandist exposes shocking truths behind the regime. And this was written by Jang Jin-sung. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But this is a memoir of a Korean defector basically, Jang was a poet, a laureate type figure in North Korea. Um, he Kim Jong Un basically hired him to write propaganda poetry praising him as the high supreme being leader, and singing the praises of North Korea, and singing about all the bad things about their enemies. So he ended up growing sour from the regime and defected. Can't remember if he defected to South Korea or China, or what he did, how he defected. But he ended up defecting, and one of the cool things about this book is it's real North Korea. You always hear things about North Korea, but this gives you a perspective of North Korea from somebody who actually was within its borders and who experienced the totalitarianism of that government. Just to read a little bit on the back, which probably says as a lot of what I just said in it. Jang Jin-sung worked at the heart of North Korea's propaganda machine. Young and ambitious, he had access to state secrets, including information about military and diplomatic policies and the distribution of power. He was also one of the Hermit Kingdom's leading poets, whose work secured him an audience with Kim Jong-il himself. As one of the admitted, he had every reason to feel satisfied with his lot. And the admitted, as far as I understand, basically means you have spent 20 minutes in the presence of the supreme leader, at least 20 minutes in his presence. If that basically means you're an admitted in North Korea. Yet he could not ignore his conscience or the contrast between his life and that of those he saw starving on the street. After breaking his security rules, he and a friend were forced to flee for their lives. This is a gripping true story of Jang Jin-sung's escape to freedom and a shocking expose of the world's most secretive totalitarian state. So I've always been very interested in North Korea and what goes on there, and what life is like inside of it, because it's just definitely fascinating. I've seen a lot of crazy documentaries about North Korea. Like, for instance, people smuggling flash drives full of American movies and TV shows in North Korea. You know, if you get caught with that, you're in trouble. But it's just crazy. Like, apparently another thing I heard is where I live in the southern United States, moon pies are really popular. Well, apparently in South Korea they also have a variation of a moon pie that's very popular. And it got popular in North Korea too, but they weren't allowed because it's a South Korean snack. So there was actually a black market for moon pies in North Korea, which I find fascinating. So it's definitely an interesting sociological study. So I read a part of this, and it was very good so far. So definitely on my TBR, and I'll probably have to make a video about it. All right, I found this one at an antique type store. This is the U.S. Army War College Guide to the Battles of Chancellorsville and Fredericksburg. And it has Stonewall Jackson on the cover of it. And it actually has a letter he wrote, I believe, to Robert E. Lee on the back. So Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville were basically two of the biggest victories that the Confederacy would have during the Civil War. Chancellorsville is where Robert E. Lee's genius in military tactics really shone, and it's actually the battle that Stonewall Jackson died in, or he was wounded and then died later as a result of the pneumonia. And Fredericksburg was another big victory for the Confederacy, where they were in a really solid fortified position and the Union attacked, and it was very disastrous for the Union. But I didn't really know what to expect with this book, but I am glad I picked it up. It almost is like a guide, like as if you were at Chancellorsville and Fredericksburg, at the actual battlefields. It has like different stop numbers and like where to go, but it also includes descriptions of what happened at the battles, a ton of maps. It also has accounts, first-hand accounts of men and officers that had actually served in these battles. And one of my favorite parts about the book is it actually has the order of battle in the back. So here is the Army of Northern Virginia's order of battle. Don't know if this is Fredericksburg or Chancellorsville. Fredericksburg, I believe. So I'm a sucker for that. I love looking at the order of battles and seeing all the divisions and stuff. And you also got some cool appendix information on casualties and stuff like that. Another thing I thought was pretty cool is there's actually a picture of one of my favorite historians, Douglas Southall Freeman, in the back of it, giving a speech. And he really had nothing to do with this book, so I don't know why he's in there. Also, it came with a pretty cool bookmark, the History Book Club from Pennsylvania. So I don't know how that got to Florida, but that's still pretty cool. I love finding random bookmarks whenever I buy a used book. So the next one, this is... I got this just because I'd heard a lot about it. I've never read any psychology or any works on the field of psychology, but this book looked really cool. It was in great condition, a good price, and I heard a lot about it. So this is Sigmund Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams, which is one of the most influential texts in psychology. A lot of leading psychologists, don't really follow Freud anymore. I guess some do, but nevertheless, it's a very influential text. I've always been interested in how the mind works, especially dreams. So maybe it'll be cool to read about some of Freud's opinions on how you can interpret them, because the main theme of the book is he believed that there was a proven method to interpret dreams, and this is his work on that area of psychology. On the back it says, Sigmund Freud's seminal psychological works are of huge cultural significance. His theories on dreams have become part of the fabric of our everyday lives. A definitive new series bringing together ancient, medieval, and modern texts with extended introductions to highlight the special contribution of each book. So, and it also has an introduction by Dr. Richard Stevens. I'm assuming he's some kind of leading psychologist. Like I said, I don't know a lot about psychology, but maybe this is a good starting point. I'm not sure. If anybody is more up to date on Freud than I am, please leave a comment and tell me if that's a good place to start with. So the last two books in this haul are going to be special. Actually, I have three more, but the last two I have with me right now are pretty special, and that's because they're both signed by the author. So I've been collecting books for, I don't know if it's been 2 years yet, but it's been well over a year at least. And one thing I have not had yet up to this point were signed books. And while I was in Florida, I ended up finding two, so that's pretty cool. So the first one I found is a newer book, actually. This is To Rescue the Republic, Ulysses S. Grant, The Fragile Union, and the Crisis of 1876. And this is written by Brett Baer and Catherine Whitney. And this is a signed first edition that just happened to be at the bookstore that I was in. So Brett Baer, he's... you probably know him on Fox News. He's a bit of a political correspondent. Here's the signature. So he isn't really a historian, or I think he's written a few history books, but he's more of, I guess, a political talking head than an author, really. Now, I don't really know a lot about him. I don't really watch his show or any of that, but I have heard good things about this book, and I am collecting books on the U.S. presidents, and I don't have one on Grant yet. I was considering getting, I believe it's Chernow's Grant, but I saw this, and it was signed, and I decided just to pick it up as my first signed book. So I do hope that it is as good as people say it is. And this is the last book I got while I was gone. This is a fiction book by an author I've been meaning to read a lot. This is Chuck Palahniuk's The Invention of Sound. Palahniuk, he is probably best known for writing the Fight Club. He also has a few other works like Haunted, Choke, and a few more that have gained a lot of readership. And he's known for writing very disturbing books and kind of horror, kind of just disturbing, uneasy feeling works of fiction. This is his newest book, and it was kind of funny because the store I went to, I was just looking through the discount rack that was out at the front, outside of the store, and I saw Palahniuk, and he was an author that had been on my radar, so I thought, I might as well pick this up. It was only $8. Well, I opened up the front cover, and I saw this, and I thought it was fake at first, or like printed on. That someone had, because I've had that happen a lot, where I thought a book was signed, and then I found out the author died when before it was published, and I was like, oh, so it's a print on. But there were two of these here, and I opened both of them, and the signatures were just different. You could tell they're like, you can tell that they weren't printed on by comparing the two. But I thought that was very cool, so I was like, I'm definitely picking it up for $8. And I don't know if I'm going to read this one. I might get some of his other books. Like, I really want to read Fight Club. I might read that before this one. But it still is very cool to have two signed books in my collection. So while I was gone in Florida, I saw that one of my favorite bookstores posted that they had a box set that I really wanted. So I was hoping that it would still be in store. No one had bought it by the time I got back to where I live for my vacation. So when I got back, it was still there, and I decided to pick it up because I had been, well, first of all, it's on one of my favorite historical figures of all time, and second of all, I got it for a very good price, and it's a work that's been on my radar for a bit. I almost bought it once, all 3 volumes actually, but I'm glad I didn't, because I just got a once-in-a-lifetime price on this. So pardon me while I pick this up. This is William Manchester's The Last Lion box set, which is a work on the life of Winston Churchill. And actually, Paul Reed is the name of the author who helped with this last volume. Manchester had typed up a 100,000-page manuscript of the work, and he passed away, unfortunately, before he was able to finalize and publish it. So Reed took over and finished that last volume. And I got this set. This set, it retailed for $125 when it came out. I ended up getting it for $15. So $15 for this, you cannot pass up. I would be foolish to not get it for $15. And I've actually already started on the first volume. I just slipped it back in here for the video. Amazing so far. The preamble is what it's called to the first volume, is basically describing Churchill's character, and it's just so well written. As I said, I've already started on the first volume, and I love it already. I mean, the paper is so nice. It's got some crazy maps. Here's the British Empire. Really cool map on, I don't know what you call this part, I guess inside cover. I think there's a fancier word for it that they use. But you also have a chronology on the back. It's pretty cool. I was really, really pleased to find this box set for $15. I don't think I'll ever beat that. It was used, but I mean, you can hardly tell. The book's in very good condition. In fact, there was a boarding pass from like 2015 in the front cover of this, which was crazy. Yeah, it's been a really good few weeks for me and my book collecting. If you stuck around this long, thank you very much for watching. I actually have a lot more content to make. I went to a library sale recently, so I will be posting a book haul, talking about some of the stuff I got from there. And I also finished Absalom recently, and I actually finished Hannibal as well. Both were amazing books, and I recommend both of them. But I think I will be doing a review on Absalom. I don't know when that will come out because that's a really difficult book to review. But I do anticipate making that video after I do the library sale book haul. So I have a lot of ideas floating around, and I appreciate everyone that watches and leaves comments and likes, and everyone that likes to follow my channel. It means a lot to me. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned.